In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, Mark's
Good
on
evening
here.
and welcome to tonight's edition of College Football After Dark. As I am yours truly, Jackson Johnson. And unfortunately, Ben is not here with us tonight, so I'll be the substitute host for this edition of CFB After Dark right here on The Voice of College Football. But I got these two wonderful guys with me. There's Shane from the Mountaineer Mafia and West Virginia at the Voice of College Football. You see him on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights with the Wizard of West Virginia, Joey Foster. And this man right below me is an Oregon Duck at heart. You see him every Tuesdays or Wednesdays on Oregon at the Voice College Football. And Ben has to yell GD at him quite a lot. He is the one and only himself, Spaz. And you can check him out for sure. And I'm going to tell you, it's always a wild ride with Spaz. And I'm yours truly. And of course, you can find me on Alabama at the Boys College Football Monday afternoons, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can also find me on the Alabama postgame show. So, gentlemen, what was your take so far? What was the word of the week for you guys?
Parody.
Oof. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Uh-oh.
For me,
Hurricane caught up to traveling fools.
well, I will say, though, before we get into what's been happening in week 5, let's start with Spaz. Where can they find you or stalk you online?
They can stalk me right there at Sean_Spazdrag on Twitter. You can also find me on Instagram, Sean Bryant, and yeah, I'm all over the place.
There we go. Tell your friends, your family, and your frenemies and the cashiers at Publix about what Spaz is up to every week on Oregon at the Boys College Football. Shane.
Well,
can
every
they
Saturday
find
morning
you
at
online?
8 o'clock, you can find me at Sam's Club buying groceries in Butler, Pennsylvania. But no, seriously. And Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock, Steelers Dynasty podcast. If you're an NFL fan and just like talking about, hoagies, pizza, all kinds of stuff, and maybe like 30% Steelers football. Then on Tuesdays, you can find me on the Voice of College Football, West Virginia, the channel with Joey. We do a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The Thursday show is a crossover show. We talk a little bit about, other teams that might be either playing similar, have similar fan bases to West Virginia, or maybe there's like a conference tie-in. But we try to get other folks from other channels in on that Thursday night and do something a little different. Then on Tuesday and Thursday after that show, I do my West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia, and we just shoot the bull, ask questions, maybe go over the schedule coming up, what my thoughts are in the Big 12. Last week it was contenders or pretenders. Who's a contender? Who's a pretender? And that all went out the window this week. So we're going to do it again next week.
Well, it's going to be fun seeing what happens in the upcoming week. But, of course, there's more to uncover from week 5. And, of course, you can find me on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. You can find me Monday afternoon for Vandy Week. And I'm going to tell you, that's going to be a wild ride.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm 125 subs away from the magic number 500 on YouTube. On my personal YouTube account. Hoping to get to 500 before the end of my birthday. But if I don't, that's okay. That's what a birth week is for. And I'll be not only subbing for Ben tonight on After Dark, but I'm also subbing for Ben on the Big Ten Home Opener, the 63rd edition of Oregon Ducks Live on Oregon at the Voice College Football. No Michigan, man? Well, no problem, man. Like, you're in the Discord, right, Mike Fort? Come on in. Come on in. Give us your take, man. Get in here. Come on in. And that's the beauty about being a Patreon member at The Voice of College Football. Because if you love top-notch exclusive live streams, watch parties, predictions, betting advice, and insider looks in all college football, go to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or become a YouTube member at The Voice of College Football, where you not only get some of the top-notch quality information in all college football, but you can be in CFB After Dark every Sunday night. And I'll tell you right now, it's always a wild ride. And you can also become a VOCFB Bets member, the $99 tier, where you get some of the best predictions in all college football from Steve Merrill, Mark Rogers, Matt Zimick, and Steve Dace. And it's always awesome getting some predictions from those guys. So before we get to the game, what was like one game that you really thought about? Like, the game that I was thinking about, honestly, for me, like everybody's talking about Alabama, Georgia, but Kentucky upset Ole Miss.
Yep.
What was your guys' thoughts on that game?
Well, I was surprised, but then after I thought about it and I watched a little bit, when it came up on my phone, I'm like, I got to start watching this. But after I start watching for a minute, I'm like, oh, this isn't that unusual. Kentucky is a decent team this year, and I hadn't had a chance to watch any of their ball. So first off, I was surprised, and then after I watched, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They look good.
Yeah, Kentucky's got a defense. That's for sure.
They caused a forced fumble, in the fourth quarter. That was big time.
Our friend Troy V says that Ole Miss was exposed as the fraud they always were. Breakaway 34 said that Kentucky broke his heart. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was surprised by that. There were some other surprises, like Louisville is a legitimate contender for the ACC after seeing how they played against Notre Dame. That was in South Bend, so there's just a lot of games that just you scratch your head. You're like, okay, I kind of know this team is legit. This team, there's still some questions, but there's more questions than answers after this week. But it's just like putting a puzzle together. I think this season we finally have at least two corner pieces. We just need the other two.
Yeah, poor Jackson. He's down there in that Alabama where everybody hates them.
Well, yeah. Everybody hates the winners. That's the thing. I mean, everybody hates the Blue Bloods for sure. And I appreciate the congrats, man. It is a good-looking Bama, but of course we have to work on our secondary.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Alabama, from what I've seen so far this year up until this past week, I thought they were like, if you were to give like a tier ranking, 1, 2, 3 tiers, they were still in the top tier. But a lot of the shine had came off of them. I didn't think they had the discipline. I didn't think it just didn't see. They had a few dents in the fender. And after this week, it looks like everything buffed out nicely. They're quality. It was a quality win. The secondary gave up some points, but guys, this is a Georgia team that still is going to make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What happened was I'm telling you guys, if you watch that first half, Georgia had no clue in hell what was coming at them. Kalen DeBoer had the best game plan in America yesterday. He came out and threw all kinds of crazy wild blitzes at Georgia's front line, and they had no answer for Alabama for Alabama's D line in that first half. Absolutely none. Carson Beck was just getting throttled that entire first half. And then Kirby does what Kirby does. At halftime, he went in and made some adjustments, and they made that a game and almost pulled out a miraculous comeback. But that that game plan that Kalen DeBoer came up with was brilliant, and nobody had seen that from Alabama all year. Nobody had seen nothing like that out of Alabama. And I'm telling you, Ohio State fools, that's exactly what Dan Lanning is doing up in Eugene right now. He's just playing basic fundamental football until he needs to bring out the can of whoop ass. And that's coming October 12th going forward. Those are the games that are going to matter. And that's where you're going to see the schemes, the special plays, the different designs that nobody's seen all year, because he's a smart coach, and smart coaches know how to game plan for those big games. Look what Harbaugh did the last couple of years at Michigan, uh, especially last year. When it came time for those major games, you seen wrinkles that you didn't see the rest of the year. And he had those specifically designed for those major games. And that's what good coaches do. They scheme and they protect, and they keep everything into the chest until it's time to bring it out.
Mike Ford, thank you for coming in on tonight's edition of CFB After Dark. Long time no see, good buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that, JJ. I've been kind of occupied lately, mostly during the off
No,
season.
it's all good, man. Like we're glad you're back, man. It's I got an early birthday present. You coming back, man? And what was your take on Alabama, Georgia?
I was actually kind of worried for Beck there because for a while there in the first half, it looks like he was kind of seeing shadows and ghosts everywhere. In fact, I thought going into the half that there's a common term in sports called the yips. And I was really thinking that all this, Carson Beck for Heisman talk might have led as kind of the stress pattern for him to kind of get the yips where you don't recover. Kind of like anybody remembers Scott Norwood for the Bills.
Yeah.
He never recovered from that. And it looked like Carson Beck, the way his performance was in the first half, this might be one of those things where like he suddenly he can't recover from it. And Georgia doesn't have really the wide receivers that can really bail him out. And obviously there's no Ladd McConkey, there's no Brock Bowers. The passing game was kind of worried about really going south for good, what I thought. And then Kalen DeBoer actually let them back into this game. I'm going to say that was more on Womack because Alabama's defense in the second half, it went way conservative. There was too much. I don't know what happened to the secondary for Alabama in the second half, but it looked absolutely terrible. And they basically played Georgia back in this. Georgia didn't really do anything special other than the fact that Carson Beck just basically threw up 50-50 balls that weren't going in the first half and suddenly started coming down in the second half. So this was kind of like one of those tale of two halves deals where I thought that Alabama, they really had him stepping on the throat. I thought DeBoer was basically trying to go for a knockout punch, and then all of a sudden they just kind of let up. And Carson Beck didn't do anything better. It's just that the defense in the second half for Alabama just started letting them down. And then what I would consider the best, even at is he 18 yet? The best receiver in the game just suddenly took it over and won it for him. He's
Brian Williams. Yeah, Brian Williams is 17 years old, and as of right now, the youngest Heisman Trophy winner ever is Lamar Jackson from the 2016 season.
Crazy. Absolutely nuts.
I mean, I don't know if Ryan's going to win the Heisman this year. I mean, it's really hard for him. But I mean, if there's a better argument for a Blitnikoff this early, I haven't seen it. I know Ohio State fans are going to start arguing Jeremiah Smith, but it looks like Williams has Blitnikoff so sealed up, and he made a play when it had to, and Milroe is a good enough deep threat that he can really take the game on his back, and kudos to Alabama because they snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat because they let Georgia back in this.
Yeah, it was another tremendous performance by Ryan Williams. I'm looking forward to seeing what more he can do in 2024. I'm hoping he can be the youngest Heisman winner ever, but if not, that's okay. I mean, there's next year, of course.
The Heisman front runner right now is Ashton Genty out of Boise State. The kid's averaging 220 plus yards a game on the ground.
Oh yeah, that
And
kid has
he's
been
making believers out of everybody.
like he's been a monster throughout the 2024 season. Well, speak of the devil, he is the Wizard of West Virginia, and he is a very good friend of the Voice of College Football. And I can tell you right now, he is a genius. He is a top-notch genius, the one and only himself, Joey Foster.
My goodness gracious.
You're going to
My
give him
God.
swelled head.
Genius.
Hey, old man.
Jeez. What y'all doing, man? I tell you what, some good college football this year.
Absolutely.
Good college football this year. I like this year in college football. Anybody see Purdue fired Jake Spavital today?
Yes, we did. We saw him. We saw them firing Graham Harrell. So I guess.
I mean Graham Harrell, not Jake Spavital. My goodness, Graham Harrell, not Jake Spavital. Wrong person on my mind. Sorry, not a Purdue fan, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I seen that come over, and I was like, okay, well, I keep waiting and keep saying to myself, when's West Virginia going to fire some coordinators?
Yeah, but who are they going to put in the place of them? So
that's the problem. That's the problem. Who's going to come and coach with Neil Brown, knowing that he's back on the hot seat?
You're going to replace a turd with turds with corn and other unidentifiable, maybe like a candy wrapper in there. Like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, Neil Brown, he saved himself last week with a victory over Kansas, but it is Kansas. Oklahoma State coming up this week. Well, we need a win. As the line came out today, looked like Oklahoma State's favored by 5.5. The game is in Stillwater, so that would be about right. Probably, I feel like 5.5 is probably about right for them to be favored. But hey, I'm hoping West Virginia can go out and knock them off. And Neil Brown needs a win. He needs a big win. We have not beaten a top 25 team since Neil Brown got there. We've not beaten a top 25 team since Neil Brown arrived in Morgantown. Also, we've not been in the top 25 guys since 2018.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Well,
West Virginia, do you realize in 2018 we had been in the top 25? I think it was 27 out of the last 29 years, 27 out of 29 or 27 out of 30 or something. Yeah. We have been in the top 25, and we've not been in since 2018 now. Last time we've been was 2018.
You're not going to get a chance to beat a top 25 team.
Well, Kansas State's going to be coming. Kansas State beat up Oklahoma State last week.
Iowa State's going to be top.
And then Arizona beating Utah. So, yeah, Arizona will be in the top 25, and Iowa State is, and Kansas State is. So Oklahoma State is too, aren't they?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
Nope. Dropped out. Yeah,
they're a dung heap.
Yeah.
And we have the one and only himself, Michigan man, with a new and with who is that as your audio avatar? Is that Khalil Mullins?
No, that's poor man's Jalen Milroe.
Oh.
Okay. No, is that you, Go Blue?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I knew that was you.
Oh man, I'm curious to see what Oregon Michigan is going to bring out on November 2nd, but that's another time for another day because we got a super chat from friend Minnesota Dave, a.k.a. Dave Polinsky, where he said, went to my dad's alma mater, Central Michigan, to watch the Chippewa play San Diego State. It was a great game. Central won the game with the last-second field goal. Happy with that result. We appreciate the contribution to the Boys College Football. We appreciate it very much, and you are always appreciated right here at this network.
Didn't Central
you
just
so much.
fire somebody?
Hey, Jackson, I just
Somebody
wanted to
was
say,
on
man, congrats on the 2024 national champion.
They ain't got it yet. They ain't played Texas yet.
No. Yeah, that was the funny thing is I remember Cody Stovall and I had a great conversation this week about Oklahoma State, the Big 12, and off air where Texas kind of acts like they're the king of everything, but they can't do that now in the SEC.
Nope. Not until
No.
they beat some big dogs.
Well, they beat Michigan.
Like I said, they beat us pretty bad in our own backyard.
Yeah. Beat you pretty bad and stuff. So, yeah, Texas is pretty daggone good team.
And
Here
we're a
we
top
go.
10 team
Yeah.
in the last AP.
They
we got
kind
a
of set a
very
bad
good
time,
fan.
man. That's what happened with that.
And you can find him on X on Marcus_era, Klowski414 on Instagram and Threads. And you can find him on YouTube on Will and D. And you can find him on Tuesday nights with Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports for the college football recap preview show. The one and only himself, Will and D. How you doing
Hey, what's up?
tonight?
Guys.
Oh, he actually he
How
got
you
a
doing tonight,
win,
good boy?
and he shows up.
No.
Look at Will. I mean, Will graduates from college and starts growing a beard and looking like a man now. He's ready to go.
No,
You need a dad on
Hey,
them
Will,
late night walks home. You need a dad on them
Hey,
late
Will.
night walk homes.
Hey, Will, I'll never to give you my condolences for that Northern Illinois game. I know we a couple weeks
Listen,
from
this
that,
team's
but
been
just
very
wanted to
disappointing this year, especially on the
give my
offensive
condolences.
side. But I mean, my NFL team's actually playing well and looks confident, so it's kind of made up for it.
You know what's amazing though, Will, is I'll say this about Notre Dame. They're like a Make-A-Wish program. They literally are making these lower tier. They're literally making these lower tier programs. They're making their dreams come true of beating a top, a blue blood.
Oh, geez.
You know, you're donating these wins to them, and I think it's commendable.
shit.
So, Michigan man, I want to ask you, what was your take on Michigan, Minnesota this Saturday?
Yeah, we are the worst fourth quarter team in the country. We have a young coaching staff that doesn't adjust when the other team does adjust, and you see that in every second half. You saw that against USC. You saw that against Minnesota. You saw it against Fresno. You saw it against Arkansas State. So what happens is the team will adjust in the second half, and then we don't make any adjustments at all. And that's what happens. We get off to a hot start. I think Orgy ain't nothing special right now, but I think he did show some improvement in certain areas. I think they need to continue to show improvement there. The coaching staff really fumbled the bag with the quarterback situation. They should have let him start from the get-go and let him grow. But, you throw him into his first start against the top 15 team. They got a lot of things going on. The right tackle's a mess. But you know what? We the reigning champs. We still the kings of the Big Ten.
They're still trying to figure out what Connor Stallion's game plan is week to week.
Okay, the Connor Stallions jokes have got to go away. That's
Well, they're probably never going to go away, Mike Ford. We got to deal with that.
They're going to be like the what's the guy? I can't freaking think of the. They're going to be like the Penn State jokes. I mean, they're never totally going to go away.
Oh yeah, and we
Yeah,
got
but
a very
There's
good
no
friend
more
of-
kids left for
but,
Joe
I mean-
Potter Breach.
Totally, but we have a regular on CFB After Dark, and he's another very good friend of the Voice College Football. He is a top-notch Buckeye himself, the one and only Sean Garner. How you doing tonight? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming on in, man.
Jackson, how dare you start this program at a reasonable hour? There, come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'm used to Ben saying 10:35, which normally means like 11.
Right?
And he goes for free.
Oh man.
Good
And
to see
Dave,
everyone. Full house here. I see.
Oh, there we
How
go.
about an interesting question?
Okay.
Best player in the country, front runner for Heisman right now, Travis Hunter or Mildew? Who do
Oh,
y'all pick?
Milrow by far. Milrow, let me
No.
say this. Milrow
Yeah,
is giving me early
Ashton
2000 vibes,
Genty.
man. He
Ashton
giving me
Yeah, I
Mike
think
Vick
Genty is my
vibes.
pick. If I had to vote, I agree with you, Spaz. I would vote Genty.
Yeah, Jamon. Look, Milrow's giving me Mike Vick, Vince Young vibes, man. Those are the
tell me
vibes he gives.
another
Look,
player.
Any
Alabama.
other running back in the country that's averaging 220 yards a game through 5
Yeah.
games? None.
Genty's
Yeah,
not
but
going
tell
to
me,
win, though.
tell me another player.
Alabama's the best team in the country. I think they're going to win the championship. I think Georgia's the second best team, and I mean they made them look like a Group of Five school in that first half. I think the third best team's Texas. The fourth best team. Yeah, we could go on like Ohio State's like the sixth or seventh best team. I'll just throw that out there. But yeah, I think Alabama's definitely going to win the chip. They got the next Mike Vick back there.
Clint
I'm telling you, I
Beaver
think
Drummond.
I think that
Literally,
when
Quinn
I look at
Ewers hasn't
Travis
played
Hunter,
2 games.
when I look at Travis Hunter, and I realize that he's on a team that, well, they're doing pretty good. Colorado's doing pretty good this year. I mean, they just beat UCF in the bounce house.
Oh.
So I mean, I look at Travis Hunter and I think there's no other player in the country that's playing 130 snaps a game.
Yeah.
He's playing offense and defense, and guess what? He can play them both better
he had
than
a
just
big-
about anybody in the country at those positions.
He had a
Better
big
than
stop
anybody.
last game. Like that forced that fumble. I mean, come on. Had an interception this year or this past week. Well, he's killing it, man.
And they're 3-1 just like they were last year.
Okay, I think if you're talking about the Heisman race, though, I think all of them have some issues here. Travis Hunter's team's not going to be that great. So, and there's a huge anti-Colorado backlash against them. I don't think being on that team helps them. Genty's not going to play anyone. Is not going to play anyone the rest of the year. And I honestly, I mean, I don't know if I really believe what I'm seeing with Milrow. I think he's going to come down to earth. I've seen a whole lot of him play football here. I think this is kind of fool's gold.
Look, he was great last year. Listen, he was great last year.
He was
great last year. He just ran into generational. No, he was great last year. Hold on. He was great last year. He started off bad, but he was a young quarterback, grew into his own. The problem was he just faced a generational defense, kind of like 2021 Georgia and Michigan in the playoffs. That was making everybody look substandard. And then you go into the off season, and he gets that pretty much that sophomore jump, so to speak. And I don't even think it's close right now in the Heisman race. I think it's him, and then there's a gap. That's just my opinion.
I mean, that's probably true for right now. I'm just saying I don't know projecting the rest of the year. I mean, I think you're going to see him have his struggles this year. I don't think he's.
Well, you got to remember he played probably the best defense he's going to face in Georgia. That Georgia defense is a great defense, and he cooked them.
They play Tennessee in a couple of weeks. And I'm sorry, Tennessee has a better defense.
You think Tennessee is a better defense than Georgia?
Yes, they have a better defense.
And if we're being real, Ryan Williams is a better football player than Jalen Milrow.
Yeah, he's better. Well, I ain't gonna say that. He's better than J.J. Smith, though, for sure.
No, maybe. I mean, those are maybe the two best receivers in the country.
J.J. Smith is the better hand catcher. He's got better hands, but the Williams is a better overall receiver, I'd say. He's a better route runner. He's better in space. But I would say J.J. Smith is the better hands.
So who's your pick then, Sean, if you're talking down
I mean, like, it's so hard. Like, it's so hard for me to find – I mean, Milrow is clearly the favorite right now, but I'm saying those guys are all going to have issues going forward in trying to win it. I came here like an actual winner here. I mean,
Jackson, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but you had a super chat there.
That's why I was trying to get
somebody. I might go Nico Yamaleva here to win it. That's my current prediction for the winner here. I think Tennessee's the real deal.
Let him read that chat.
Well, and we got another super chat from our friend Dave Belinsky. Thank you for tuning in to CFB After Dark, and thank you for your super chat contribution. And he says, saw the highlights for the Michigan-Minnesota game. That was a very, very questionable offside call. But you don't give Michigan 14 points of turnovers. A block punt doesn't help. That's the sweating.
Yeah, I could comment on this. So the offside call was bad, but if you watch the first offsides, it hit a Minnesota player before the ball crossed the 45-yard line. No one talks about that. So even though I don't think personally he was offsides, it still hit a Minnesota player before the ball crossed the 45-yard line, which still would have negated the onside kick.
I will say this: I am so damn tired this year of referees deciding games that they have no business deciding. To be honest with you, I talked about it today on my show. But went all the way back to the South Carolina LSU game. South Carolina got 16 points taken off the board because of penalties, and those penalties never even existed. I mean, they call them for a horse collar tackle, and there wasn't no horse collar tackle. I mean, it's just crazy refereeing this year. And I'm going to say this again: until we have full-time refs that do nothing but referee in college football because they're paid enough that they don't have to work over at a State Farm desk through the week and then get on a plane on Friday night and go referee a game on Saturday. Until they pay them a decent salary, we're not going to have that. And there's enough money in college football. Yeah. I'm plumb damn sick of that shit. And they need to go ahead and give them players, give them referees a decent salary. Look, they need to do this full time. They need to do this full time. And during the off time, they could be in classes. They could be practicing. They could be, learning new rules, going over rule changes. And by the way, the replay booth, guess what? Indisputable video evidence means indisputable video evidence. It doesn't mean, I think he caught that. Let's say it's a catch. Yeah. Or, I think he might have missed that. Let's just say it wasn't a catch. It means indisputable.
Yeah, real quick, just to comment off that. Like in that Michigan game, the play they hit right before half where they got the field goal, that should have been reviewed. The ball hit the ground. They should have never been able to kick a field goal. And it goes both ways. Don't get me wrong. That was just a crazy game. It was 24-3 going into the fourth quarter. You had a 4th and 11. They call hands to the face on Mason Graham. They end up scoring a touchdown. Then you punt the ball, and they return the ball 60 yards on a punt. It was just a crazy fourth quarter. But this Michigan team has not – it's a young coaching staff that doesn't adjust well in the second half. I mean, that's what happens.
Mike Fort, we haven't heard from you. Like, I want to hear what you guys say about Michigan, Minnesota. What do you think?
Well, Michigan man said a lot of it. I mean, we're just a second half team. Schroenmore is not a good adjustment coach. We've just letting too many teams back into this. I mean, we were up 24-3 in this. And against the Minnesota team, Iowa smacked them. This really should not have been a close game in Ann Arbor. And the one good positive about Orji, and he did it in this game, is that he doesn't turn the ball over. Now, he did throw an interception in this game. But
he completed some good throws, Mike Ford. He did, but yeah.
He completed a couple throws, but if you put in a situation where he's got to stretch the field, good luck. I mean, he can hit the little out routes and hitch routes.
They don't trust him to do anything in this game. They basically make it so that he can't take any risks.
Well, let me explain what's going on. Okay, on the 1st and 19, he hit that 19-yard pass. He's capable. The problem is our right tackle is the worst right tackle I think in the country. I know that might sound crazy, but the guy gets beat on every play. Him and Warren they have to sidestep, get out of the pocket constantly because of this right tackle. And really a quarterback, especially a quarterback that doesn't have any experience, he can't get comfortable. How's a young quarterback supposed to get comfortable in the pocket when your right tackle is a turnstile? It's not possible. But you know what? He showed he showed a good promise and improvement. Not as much as I would like to see, but he showed he could complete some throws. Now the interception was on the part of that's on the right tackle. The right tackle gets beat. He has to sidestep. The pass is late, and it was still a bad pass. But at the end of the day, I think he'll continue to prove, hopefully, and we'll see.
Well, the offensive line is improving. I thought it did great against USC, and I really saw some improvement. And I'm going to butcher his name, Judas.
Judas. It's just like the guy who turned in Jesus.
Yeah, from an Ohio State guy, that kind of sounds suspicious.
Yeah,
but you know who I mean. He's made tremendous steps. In the beginning of the season, I thought he was going to be our liability. But
well, I mean, most Michigan fans that I was hearing through that know the roster well enough were objecting to him starting, objecting to him being the guy. They wanted that Crippen in there.
Yeah,
I think Crippen's still better, in my opinion. That's just me.
I think that's the general opinion of Michigan fans. But he's come up lately.
But yeah, that's crazy that Link has started every game at right tackle, and he has been
He's so bad. He's so bad.
I mean, he has been awful.
And you know their argument, and this is bad coaching, by the way. Their whole argument for keeping him in there is, well, he's a super young guy. We believe in his ceiling, so we want to let him go through the growing pains. Well, at what point do you pull the plug on that? At what point?
That's an understandable sentiment, and I mean, like if you think a guy's like going to be a better player in the long run, you just let him.
Yeah, but we in week 6 now. I mean, at what point do you go? Yeah. We got to cut this.
Yeah, but this is an extreme level of patience that they're having with them.
Last time I checked, Bredesen was playing a lot more last year than he should have, at least at right tackle. So I mean, they don't like to switch up offensive linemen unless they're given no choice.
They don't like to switch up really anything, Mike Ford. Like that's a Jim Harbaugh thing. Like they don't like the running back, for example. Moling should have been getting RB1 carries weeks ago. The gap, Moling's to me is, I know I'm a Michigan guy. He's the best running back in the Big Ten. He is. We got no passing game at all, and he's still running for $150 a game. The dude is a NFL running back, but it took them 5 weeks to start the kid.
You do realize there are a couple guys in Columbus that might have a say in that. There.
Yeah,
and there's the nation's leading rusher in Iowa City.
No, I know, but here's the difference.
I'm sorry, no.
Iowa City, more like Boise State.
Yeah, but hold on. Here's the difference, though, Sean. One, you guys have a passing attack, so the defenses can't load the box. You guys have one of the best passing attacks in the country, so that's favorable to a running back. You can't stack the box. It makes it easier for them to get the yards. That's one. Two, you guys have played, no offense, the local Sisters of the Four.
Those guys have been great since long before the season.
But they should be, though. They played the local Sisters of the Poor, and their offense is very favorable to them. Versus Molings, who has had no passing attack, and defense has put 8-9 in the box, and he's still getting $150 a game against way better competition. I don't even think it's debatable.
That's true.
Well, they have played a tougher schedule. I don't know if Minnesota's. I mean, that's
what part of the problem here is, guys, is that all you Central and Eastern guys, none of you do what us West Coasters do. We get up and we watch college football from 9 a.m. to your big noon kickoffs all the way to midnight. You guys don't. You guys stop watching football after 5 o'clock, so you don't know what any of the West Coast teams do.
No, that's not true. I stay up.
That's not true. I happen to catch you guys' game with Idaho because it
actually. Nobody's giving Boise.
I watch it until I pass out.
I don't watch.
I watch it until I pass out. Now sometimes I'm blacked out by the time it gets to your game. So.
Are you coming up here, Sean, October 12th?
I absolutely I cannot make it. I have plans that Sunday, so no,
Damn.
unfortunately.
We'll have to make it a future Ohio State
Yeah.
away
Oh
game.
no. Yes. And I think they're going to Columbus next year, right?
Probably if we play next year, yeah. I'm not sure
That's,
what the schedule is.
that's probably a more favorable time for the Ducks anyway next year. Ohio State's going to have some
Okay.
stuff to figure out. Buckeyes are going to have some stuff to figure out this offseason.
So
Typical Ohio
after
State.
Yeah, I think
Typical
Ohio
Ohio State
State's
fan.
defense has regressed personally.
Typical Ohio State fan.
They've given up. I think
actually,
that's
Ohio State, Oregon don't play each other in 2025. They're
Okay.
going to play each other in 2026,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
just
going to be in Columbus.
Yep.
But before we get down,
Ohio State has given up. They've given up 6, 0, 7, 14, and 7 points in all their games. That's a regression.
Okay, let me explain the regression. I'll take 2 seconds. One, you also got to take into fact who you've played. I mean, we could get into that. You've played the worst schedule in the country so far. One.
Yeah.
When I say regression, I'm talking about what you had last year. Last year, your defense was a top 3 defense. This is where the front seven.
To do that this year.
Well, hold on. The front seven has regressed. It just has. The linebackers aren't as good. You could just watch the games. The dominance isn't what it was last year. It just isn't. Does that mean that they're not a great defense? No, they're still a great defense, but they're not what they were last year.
Well,
Um,
so now we move on to Minnesota. And Minnesota is 2-3. The future is full of questions for PJ Fleck. And Greg Flager said himself that the fans are sick and tired of him, but the alumni is not quite there yet. Panel, what's your take on that?
Wait, can you say that one more time?
PJ Fleck, future. Greg Flager on YouTube. I forget his channel's name, but it'll come to me. But he said on
Peek around
Twitter,
the corner guy.
Yeah, around the corner. Thank you, Will. And he talked about how the fans are sick and tired of PJ Fleck. The alumni is not quite there yet. What is your take on that post?
I think the alumni care more about the hockey team than the football team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah, they don't even care about the basketball team, because it's like they
especially not the basketball team because hockey's played during that same time.
Oh man, it's like Minnesota fans are definitely wishing for more emphasis on football.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, what do you think about PJ Fleck?
He's just one of those guys. He's such a quirky personality. I think he kind of wears on you after a while, especially with when the program regresses. Like that kind of stuff is cute and fun when you're winning 9-10 games at Minnesota. But I mean, like that, it is something you grow that grows it's a stick that grows very old very quickly. So I mean, it's not. I mean, and I mean, like he's trying to play like 2002 trestle ball, in this era, and I'm like, you know what? Everything feels stale and old with him. So I mean, I think it is probably time for a change. I really do.
I think PJ Fleck's a good coach. I look at things though like when you drop a game, and hindsight's 2020. Nobody knew game 1 this year when Minnesota fell to UNC. That UNC was a bad team, right? Nobody thought that. Now we know UNC is a pretty daggone bad team.
They didn't impress me, Joey. They didn't impress me.
Right. So we know now UNC is not a good team. So that was a bad loss for Minnesota. And that doesn't look good for them in the Big Ten this year at all. But you gotta take things into perspective here. I can remember being in Minnesota in 20, I think it was 21, it might have been 22. I think it was 21 when I was in Minnesota, and man, they were all praising.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
we got the best coach. I
Yep,
just, so
2019. Doubt about it.
2019, maybe that's when it was. Maybe that's when I was in Minnesota. But
Mhm.
everybody was just praising. So now to get rid of him, yeah, I don't know. I think he's done a good job.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the problem is like what's the trajectory of the program right now? It feels like there's nothing. They don't have any positive momentum going. They play an uninspiring, unpleasant version of football to watch, and they're not getting results. Unlike Iowa, they're not winning. So this is
Well,
People should stop hyping up Group of Five coaches before they actually see them coach in the Power Five or Power Four now. And we've seen this with Scott Frost. We've seen this with Tom Herman. We've seen this with I forget the whole
Neil
name.
Brown.
Neil Brown. We saw this with who was the coach that went to Texas? Charlie. I forget his name.
Strong.
But the point is,
Charlie Strong.
No.
they'll do great in the Group of Five.
He was at Louisville. Charlie was at Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll do great in the Group of Five, but when they go to the Power Five, which is a whole nother level, a lot of times they fail.
Luke Fickle.
But Louisville was in a BCS
Luke Fickle.
conference at that time.
You're not thinking right because Charlie Strong, he was coach at Louisville, so you're thinking of Tom Herman. He went from Houston to.
No, was it? I thought Charlie Strong coached at like a Florida team, like a Group of Five Florida team.
He coached at South Florida after he got fired from Texas.
Yeah, like Deion. That's right.
Deion's another example. I don't think Deion. This is my opinion. I don't think Deion's going to be successful at Colorado at all.
No.
That's just my opinion.
I don't think he's going to be there at all past the season.
Right.
I think
He's
he's
not
I
going to have
think
a body of work to judge
Which
him.
brings
because
it
he's
to the
1
next
year.
topic. Colorado, Central Florida, right? And Central Florida was favored by 2 touchdowns going into this game. Big noon kickoff was at the bounce house. Everybody was excited about it. Shane, let's start with you. What was your take on Colorado, Central Florida?
Well, here's the thing that just irritates me, and I say this every show. I was so excited to watch on Amazon Prime, and I was so interested in seeing what was going on behind closed doors, and it was entertaining as all hell. I was a fan, and I loved what he brought to the table at Colorado. Now it's the point where I want to see him slip on the sidewalk with his foot and break his teeth out, because I think he's a horse's ass, and I'm just sick of watching it. And I was a big fan just a year ago, and I don't see how UCF was a 2-touchdown favorite. But this team stormed the field when they beat Baylor last week. Like it was
Twice.
Yeah, come on.
I'll say this. I think you guys are kind of being the fun police. Like, if the students want to storm the field after beating a team like Baylor, even though Baylor's not great, I think they should have the right to storm the field.
No, because I'm not. I'm not. Because I'll tell you when it's justified.
I'm getting up on that.
When I was at West Point, when they broke their 22-game losing streak and they tore down the field goals, the posts.
That's a worthy
justified.
field run.
That's justified, okay? But when you beat a team that you have every right you should be beating, but you beat them in overtime, come on, guys. This isn't like clinching a bowl game. This isn't like – it has to have some sort of meaning other than, oh, my God, I can't believe we won. That shows how, they had hope last year. Every game they had hope that they would win. That shows me that they lost that hope, and they're just happy to win a god-darn game.
Well, at least they're not Clemson. Clemson, that's a tradition.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Shane, is I'm in a lot of Twitter spaces during the week, and any given Saturday, you can go into a Colorado Twitter spaces, and for some god unknown reason, there's 300 idiots in there hyping up Colorado. but they talk over each other 1,000 times a minute, and it's all you hear, and it just drives you
Hey,
nuts. But they think they're
hey,
these
Jackson.
knees and cheese knees.
Hey, Jackson, can you pull up their schedule?
I'll see what I can do. Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's a great idea, Mike. Let's
Yeah,
do that.
I'm on a new browser at the moment.
Let's be honest. There are no Colorado fans.
Troy.
There are Dion fans. I mean, we
That's
can
just
call
right.
Colorado
That's
State
just right.
more,
You
but
know,
they're Dion fans.
back in '90, before I even graduated from high school, that was an interesting program, and they had they tied for the national championship. I guess they shared it that year, but they were interesting. I think they had Cordell Stewart, but for crying out loud, yeah, you're right. They just like prime time.
Yeah, they were a better team than Georgia Tech tonight. I don't think they're.
I agree.
Dan Letting said it best last year. Deion Sanders in Colorado are playing for clicks and YouTube likes and views. That's what Deion wants. He's trying to get his kids over so that they can get an NFL contract, and then he's done. He'll walk away, guaranteed.
Did you say he's trying to get them over like they're wrestlers or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
Get the crowd work. Well, they're definitely over as villains right now. This whole program.
Oh yeah.
To me, I don't know. It's a little. I don't know if who I dislike more are the Colorado fanboys, these Colorado posers, or the haters on them. To me, like they're not. It is a clown show there. I mean, they appear to have fixed a few things. They're a little bit more solid on the line and defensively, but this is not a legitimate major football program right now. We pay them just an absurd amount of attention. It's kind of. It's kind of.
Did they get ranked this week?
I'm sorry, what?
Did they get ranked this week?
No, Colorado.
Oh, there's
John,
no
did
way. They could not be ranked.
No,
they don't really have any
They're
quality
3-1.
wins.
Well, I just want to go over there.
They got their heads split open by an unranked team, by a team that's not
They were
ranked.
ranked 3-1 last year.
Yeah, but the difference is they don't really have any good wins, right? UCF's an okay win.
Hey, Jackson, if you just want to read it out, that's fine too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'm on a new browser at the moment, so I'm
pull it up
kind of
for you.
learning
Hold on.
everything about it.
So here's the thing about it. Colorado's season's about to change. All right, because now they're going to be facing Kansas State and Arizona and Texas Tech, Utah, those teams, Oklahoma State. So their season's about to change over. So everybody can talk big on Colorado. They want to right now. Oh boy, they're 4-1 and they look good. Yeah, they ain't played nobody yet. So
they might make a bowl this year because of how. I mean, last year they were 4-8, but they played as about as tough of a Pac-12 schedule as you can play. Like there were bad teams in the Pac-12.
They're Arizona, Texas Tech, and Kansas.
Cincinnati.
But I think they could make a bowl this year. They might be Cincy, Texas Tech, or Kansas. They might win 2 out of those 3.
They'll beat Cincinnati. The other teams are.
Yeah. They might have a better record, but their schedule is not going to be as strong. But there are some losses there that will definitely be losses and ugly. Like they're not going to beat Kansas State. They ain't beating Arizona. Those games will be ugly.
Utah.
Yeah, the Cam Rising.
I'm out. Let Jackson say something. He's trying to say something here. Sorry, Jackson.
Well, because we have another edition on CFB After Dark. He is the host of Only Taught Sports, where he taught sports every day, or at least he tries to. He is the host of Hoosiers Live on Indiana, the voice of college football, and he hosts the College Football Recap Preview Show with Will and D, and he's got some future projects coming up. He's the one and only himself, Jeffrey at Only Taught Sports.
You have to be 18 to be on this program, Jackson.
Come on, Spaz. Come on.
He's going to be.
Hey, what can you say? McLovin's got a good idea here. Fooled everyone.
Well, he's going to be 20. He's going to be 21 in January 2025, so he's going to be at the drinking age real soon.
What do you say, Jeffrey?
I do want to see Jeffrey when he goes to the bar next year. Like, how hard the bartenders look at that ID every single time. like no.
Smart to
How
wait a
often
little
is
bit,
going to get
right?
revealed? Klein.
We love you, Jeffrey.
I appreciate it, guys. It's always great when I come on because I know there's going to be some age jokes every time. Never
Hey,
gets
well,
old.
I'll let you guys to it. I'm going to pop off. Thanks
There
again,
we go.
Jackson and company.
Go.
Nice
where-
show.
Thanks for popping by, Shane.
Thanks
Always
for
good to
having
see
me.
you.
Yeah, you can find me Wednesday nights, the Steelers Dynasty podcast, Tuesday and Thursday on the Voice of College Football, and also Tuesday and Thursday on West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia. Thanks, guys. Lots of
Hey,
love.
Shane, before
There
you
you go.
pop,
Have a good one, Shane.
Shane, before you
Good
pop,
night, Shane.
is
Sleep
Russell
well, man.
Wilson taking over?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
No,
Did the Steelers win today?
they lost by 3.
Who'd they play?
What a shame. What a shame.
They've lost to Indianapolis.
I
First
can't
half,
believe
they played
Joe
like garbage, and
Flacco's
they
still
came
playing
back.
that well for
Yeah.
them, man.
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's amazing.
There was a
The roll-
turnover
the
and a
roll
call that was
call
kind of crazy. Other than that, it is what it is. But football is so crazy when you can't control your body. When you ease up and let up on a play, and they still call a penalty, and they call it into the head ref that's actually on the staff or the announcing department says that it's a bullshit call. It's frustrating. I think officiating in the past 3 years for high school, college, and NFL has been just a grade of a D-.
It's been bad.
Pathetic.
I would give it an F. It's that bad.
The playoffs,
yeah.
NFL refs usually are better, but not that much better.
Yep.
Well, way I
They're still
see it.
better than them college
Night,
refs,
night,
man.
They are
guys.
better, still better than in college.
Night, Shane. Sleep
guys.
well, man.